How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the next book review. So this is book review number 5. This one is Extreme Ownership by Jocko, Willink, and Leif Babin. They were not only co-authors on this book, however, they worked together in the field over in Ramadi in Iraq. So this book talks a lot about leadership, and the big theme is extreme ownership, hence the title, Extreme Ownership. So their story takes them through several different missions and operations throughout Iraq in the 2000s. They discuss different tactics, principles of leadership that they learned, and they discussed how there was a large gap in time between the Vietnam War and when Iraq started, that there were a lot of SEALs who didn't have the combat leadership experience. And so there were times where they were figuring out principles that you wouldn't necessarily know unless you had that combat experience. And then they took what they learned in combat, and now they have Echelon Front, which is their business leadership company that they have, where they go speak to large and small companies to their management and executive levels and coach them on leadership. They talk about several different principles in this book, and one being ego, one being ownership. And I really liked the book because he's very upfront, not only in talking about the combat, but in the managers that he talks with. He gives a specific instance where a manager had a very tough time realizing that he was the person at fault. The manager kept saying how he had the plan, but nobody was executing on it. People didn't believe in it, and the lower levels below him, it was all of their fault that they weren't executing. And Jocko Willink got up front with the guy and was straight up, and he was like, if you're their manager, if you're their boss, if you're their leader, how can you put all of the blame if you are supposed to be the leader on this initiative? And he talks about that a lot on the SEAL side as well in Iraq. One of those times being when they had friendly fire, and Jocko Willink brought his SEAL squad in, and they had to talk with the CO and another upper level above Jocko. And Jocko asked the SEAL squad, whose fault is this? He was kind of asking it rhetorically, but he did have SEALs raise their hand, say it was them, and then say why it was them. And every time Jocko would say, that's wrong, it wasn't you. And that happened 3 or 4 different times. And in the end, Jocko said that it was all on him. As leader, that's something that he can't allow to happen. It should have been thought through more carefully in the plans, the communication, and the actual operation. He should have done more to make sure that something like this never could have happened. So in the end, I think there's a few really good principles that come out of this book. He also talks about ego and how, as a leader, you can never let your ego get in the way of things and take responsibility for the things that happen. But yes, you are the leader. Maybe the SEAL squad operation went amazingly, but you can't take the credit. That's your squad's credit. Just like it would work in business. If you were the leader of an initiative, you can't take all of the credit when you have a team below you who is really executing on things. So I'm going to give this book a 7 out of 10. Conceptually, it was good. Tangible things, not a ton to take away, other than, again, some things to think through on leadership, how you are as a leader, maybe some things you can improve on. But a lot of the book was just kind of dry. The business applications were very generic stories. It was fascinating to listen to some of the Iraq stories in the town of Ramadi. He even talks about Chris Kyle, the American sniper, in it. But personally, for me, I just didn't find it the most fascinating book, and I think it might have something to do with the fact that I just read David Goggins' book, Can't Hurt Me, which was amazing. So for the next book review, I'll be doing Black Privilege by Charlemagne the God. So kind of mixing it up here. Not necessarily a business book, a leadership book, more of just a book on a new perspective and seeing Charlemagne the God's story of him kind of working his way up from where he was at in his childhood and then to where he is today, where he has one of the most listened to radio shows. He's interviewed presidential candidates, he's interviewed Drake and tons of other hip-hop stars. So I'm really excited to dive into this book. A little bit of a different book for book number 6, but I'm looking forward to it. So thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to leave a comment if you've read the book and what your thoughts were, and I will see you guys next week. Thanks.